Hello everyone, my name is Matt and this is Moxie, my 54-foot Hunter sailboat. In this first video, I'll show you the photos of Moxie before I purchased her when she was originally named White Lightning. First though, a little about the Hunter 54 and about this specific boat. The Hunter 54 has an overall length of 53 feet 10 inches. Her beam is 11 feet 4 inches, and so she has a fairly narrow beam given her length. With her fin keel and spade rudder, she has a 6-foot draft. This is a little deeper than ideal for where she now sits in Florida and where I intend to sail her in the Bahamas and Caribbean, but it will be something I potentially address during her refit. Moxie was built in 1981, and so at the time I purchased her in July 2016, she was a full 35 years old. Not exactly a spring chicken, but from the photos I saw, she looked to be a pretty solid boat. From what I can tell from the hull identification number and some information I found online, she was the 9th hull built by Hunter Marine of the 44 Hunter 54s built between 1981 and 1983. She was built in Alachua, Florida, and has a fiberglass hull. She is set up in a cutter configuration with her 2 headsails. For auxiliary power, her engine is a 50 horsepower 4-cylinder diesel engine. Here are some shots of her exterior. These were the photos that first caught my eye on her listing on yachtworld.com. Much of the exterior canvas and rigging looked to be fairly new and well maintained. I took this to be a good sign. The Hunter 54 is notable for her stern sugar scoop and swim step that opens up to a sizable dinghy locker. I actually purchased Moxie without seeing her in person because I work overseas. I had to make my decision to buy her from these photos and from a partial survey I commissioned to have the boat inspected for any major problems. Both the photos and the survey confirmed that the boat had been well maintained by her previous owners, with whom I have been in fairly frequent contact. Much of the work that needs to be done is largely cosmetic, and my goal is to overhaul her and refit her completely over the next year or so. The first work will be done to address any structural issues. Then I'll move on to her major systems, and the last phase will be geared toward cosmetic work. The survey came back with some suggestions, but there was ultimately no major issue that stopped me from completing the purchase. Moxie is 3.5 decades old. There is no doubt this is a major undertaking, but I grew up working on boats, so I know what I'm getting into. I own another large sailboat, and my family has spent many years living on the water and owning both sail and power boats, so I know what to expect. The photos you're seeing now are of the large open interior. Most of the equipment and the forward mattresses were removed for the listing photos, but the previous owners provided these items back to me when I bought the boat. It turns out they only lived a few short miles from where I intended to dock the boat and conduct the refit. The photos were not very high resolution, but I could tell right away that I would end up remodeling the entire interior, which I knew I would want to do no matter what boat I bought. Some of the interior wood can be saved and reused, but I will likely replace the majority of it as I redesign and rebuild the interior and go for a more modern look. As I am still overseas, to this day I have not seen the boat in person myself, but members of my family who live nearby and several of the professional workers who I've already had perform work on the boat have provided me tons of additional pictures and reports of the state of the boat and all her systems. I will end up replacing most of the appliances and electronics. I will probably get all new pipes and hoses as well as new heads. Within the first few months after she goes back in the water, my goal is to have the engine completely overhauled since I plan on making several long passages with her. In all reality, even though Moxie is in pretty decent shape overall, I see this boat as a blank canvas and I intend to rebuild her from the ground up. The goal of this channel is to follow Moxie on her adventures for years to come and also take you through the various projects and improvements along the way. Many of the first videos will be geared toward refit projects to get Moxie ready to splash. So there you have her, Moxie, my Hunter 54. If you'd like to follow the progress of Moxie's refit and her upcoming adventures, subscribe to this channel to get the latest updates. For Sailing Moxie, I'm Matt, and we'll see you next time.